Jorge Mario Bergoglio, was elected as Pope Francis I on March 13, 2013. He made papal history and is said to have won over the world in 5 minutes. He won the respect and admiration of many atheists when he declared that atheists who do good but don't believe shall be in heaven. The world looked upon in awe and wondered as Pope Francis asked, "Who am I to judge?" when speaking of homosexuals. He declared the Catholic Church should be a home for all, instead of obsessing over homosexuality and abortion. He suggested the Church should study and possibly be open to civil unions, and almost 2 years later the United States Supreme Court legalized gay marriage. On September 30th, 2013, the Pope sought to canonize 2 of the most loved popes in the 20th century. Pope John XXIII, admired by liberal Catholics, and Pope John Paul II, admired by conservative Catholics. This move was an attempt to unify the Roman Catholic Church. The Pope recorded a message with Tony Palmer to deliver to the international evangelical leaders at the Kenneth Copeland Ministers' Conference, which was from the 21st to the 23rd of January in 2014. The Pope said he was yearning that the separation between evangelicals and Catholics would come to an end. Tony Palmer repeatedly declared that the protest of the Protestant churches was over. Lutherans and Methodists had already signed an agreement with the Roman Catholic Church that supposedly brought an end to the protest. Francis and Palmer were looking for unity and a signature from this group of evangelicals. In 2014, on March 7th, Pope Francis met with the World Council of Churches General Secretary Olav Tvedt, whom also expressed his views in stressing the importance of Christian unity. Former House Speaker John Boehner invited Pope Francis to address a joint meeting of the United States Congress. Francis later accepted the invitation and became the first pope to ever address the United States Congress. In her excitement for Pope Francis' acceptance, Nancy Pelosi stated that he had renewed the faith of Catholics worldwide and inspired a new generation of people, regardless of their faiths, to be instruments of peace. At the World Meeting of Families in America, Francis is said to have shrunk the tumor of a little girl after giving her a kiss on her head. This Antichrist has all the world wondering after him. In July of 2014, Pope Francis openly began his warfare against the Bible Seventh-day Sabbath, which is Friday sunset to Saturday sunset. In Italy, the Pope called upon his hearers to ask themselves whether working on Sunday should really be considered freedom, and that spending Sundays with friends and family was an ethical choice for both believers and unbelievers. Fox News has a couple of comments for this.
Is your relationships and your friends and your family, and obviously praising the Lord. And he says, you know what, is working on Sundays true freedom? And basically says, you know what, all of this hard work that people are doing on the weekends, on Sundays, is having a negative impact on their lives.
It's so easy to let just work seep in. I mean, if you're home on the weekend and you have job Monday through Friday, and you're I'm just going to get some work done. I'm going to go down to my office, do some work. I'm going to get this done. And you don't realize then what it's taking away from that day of rest, that day of family, and that hour, that 2 hours just starts to snowball. And I think he has a great point.
Yeah,
Well, of course he does. I mean, Judaism takes this very seriously. Orthodox Jews do not mess around, and I admire this so much, about the Sabbath. Mm-hmm. And again, you see this in the Old and New Testaments. Keep the Sabbath holy. Don't work. It's almost like people, it's baked in, have always had this temptation to let work crowd out all the other things that matter. Family, faith. And they have to be told again and again, knock it off, don't work. It's interesting. You think people are lazy, but they work too much.
And it's so cool when you see businesses like Chick-fil-A on this fried chicken national holiday of today, that they are not open on Sundays, and a lot of people give them business on the other 6 days of the week because they believe in that policy as well. But when you're driving around and you're on a road trip on a Sunday and you see the lights are dark, yeah, they're closed on Sunday.
Still
yeah, they are still closed on Sunday.
One of the few companies.
You get disappointed.
Well, we talked about this during the holidays, too. I mean,
On March 24, 2015, Senator Sylvia Allen suggested that there should be a law that would make church attendance mandatory for Americans every Sunday. Pushing for Sunday as the commonly shared weekly day of rest, Pope Francis published his World Reverence Climate Change encyclical, Laudato Si, on May 24, 2015. In less than 1 year after his encyclical, 175 nations responded to him by signing the COP21 Paris Climate Agreement. The prologue of the Paris Agreement was influenced by the principles that are found in Laudato Si. As of today, there are 194 nations that are in agreement with the Pope's climate change agenda, a movement which has united people of all faiths globally. On February 25, 2017, the Catholic Diocese of Hallam and the Anglican Diocese of Sheffield came together to host an ecumenical study on the encyclical. Ruth Valerio of A. Roca spoke on Living Laudato Si' Where You Are. She spoke of Pope Francis's notion of inner ecological conversion, where one takes time for Sabbath rest. She will also be a speaker at the National Justice and Peace Network conference this year, whose theme and focus are A Sabbath for the Earth and the Poor, the challenge of Pope Francis. On March 3, 2017, COMECE, the Catholic Church and the European Union, launched a call for action to show the need for common EU regulation to promote and reintegrate Sunday as the commonly shared weekly day of rest. Members of the European Parliament, the National Sunday Alliances, representatives of labor unions, the churches, and youth organizations reacted to the call and sent their statements. On April 19, 2017, the High Court in Tel Aviv, Israel, ruled that supermarkets, entertainment centers, and pharmacies would be allowed to operate during God's true Sabbath, Friday sunset to Saturday sunset. This stunning ruling to forsake the biblical Sabbath came several years after Israel had decided to adopt Sundays off. Israel is working to replace the true biblical Sabbath with the mark of the Roman Catholic Church. The Catholic Record of London, Ontario, from September 1, 1923, says Sunday is our mark of authority. The Church is above the Bible, and this transference of Sabbath observance is proof of that fact. This mark of the Roman Catholic Church is seen as the mark of Christian unity, according to the Lord's Day Alliance. And what may seem like an apparent blow to the climate change Sunday Sabbath movement, on June 1, 2017, President Donald J. Trump announced the United States would withdraw from the Paris Climate Agreement. However, President Donald Trump said that the United States would begin renegotiations to re-enter either the Paris Accord or an entirely new climate change agreement. On the very same day, the U.S. Climate Alliance was formed to do what they can to follow the principles of Laudato Si'. This alliance is composed of 22 states, 12 member states in Puerto Rico, plus 10 supporting states and the mayor of Washington, D.C. According to a November 2016 poll by the Yale Program on Climate Change Communication, almost 70% of Americans support the Paris Climate Agreement. This includes a majority of people in all 50 states. According to another survey conducted by the Associated Press, NORC Center for Public Affairs Research, only 18% of respondents agree with President Donald Trump that pulling out of the Paris Climate Agreement will help the U.S. economy. 52% believe that withdrawing will hurt the U.S. economy, and 27% believe that it will have no impact. Around the same time that the United States Climate Alliance was formed, 125 cities, 9 states, and more than 1,000 businesses joined the We Are Still In open letter committed to working together to take forceful action and to ensure that the U.S. remains a global leader in reducing emissions. On June 2, 2017, Nancy Pelosi said that President Donald Trump was dishonoring God and his rejection of the Paris Climate Agreement. In an interview published June 8, 2017, Al Gore declared that it was God who told him to go and fight global warming. The World Council of Churches, WCC, which is fully committed to the Paris Climate Agreement, said on June 11, 2017, that they will continue to work even harder with movements, multi-faith groups, and like-minded governments to build climate-resilient communities. And as Christians, they do not only have hope, they will live out that hope in action. The WCC is declaring that they will work with many groups, such as those who joined the We Are Still In open letter, to take forceful measures to stop global warming. The mark of the beast, which is a religious law, must be enforced by and in America first. Thanks to the powers granted to them in the 501c3, the churches will lobby for the enforcement of religious laws. This means that the churches have to take a more active role in the political arena. On May 4, 2017, President Donald Trump signed an executive order that gave religious liberty to 501c3 churches so that they can be more politically active without repercussion. Al Gore and Nancy Pelosi are openly talking about God and politics when it comes to climate change. They are openly advocating religious talk so as to draw the American Christians into political talk for the enforcement of the mark of the beast. Revelation chapter 13, verses 15 to 17 say, And he had power to give life unto the image of the beast, that the image of the beast should both speak and cause that as many as would not worship the image of the beast should be killed. And he caused all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads, and that no man might buy or sell save he that had the mark, or the name of the beast, or the number of his name. The image of the beast is the image to the whore riding upon the beast in Revelation chapter 17. The Vatican is a church and state entity. Thanks to the 501c3, the American churches have formed the image to the beast. They have become official government agencies and thereby have gained power to control their states by lobbying for religious laws. The American churches will cause everyone to receive the mark of the beast in their right hand or in their forehead, save the obedient children of God who receive the seal of God in their foreheads. Deuteronomy chapter 11 verse 18 says, "Therefore shall you lay up these my words in your heart and in your soul, and bind them for a sign upon your hand, that they may be as frontlets between your eyes." God's commandments obeyed are a sign upon your hands and forehead. God's Sabbath is his seal. Ezekiel chapter 20 verse 20, "And hallow my Sabbaths, and they shall be a sign between me and you, that ye may know that I am the Lord your God." Contrary to popular belief, the mark of the beast on the hand and forehead is a spiritual mark. To receive the mark, one must obey the beast's law, Sunday as the Sabbath. Failure to obey the Sunday laws means a loss of the ability to buy and sell. Recently, the United States introduced a new bill to monitor the financial activity of the United States citizens, and if they fail to comply with the new law, the government would have the ability to seize all of our money. Simple failure to do what the government says is enough to warrant having all of your funds stripped from you. And so in the future, the simple monitoring of whether someone accepts the Roman mandate will give the government the ability to stop you from buying or selling by seizing your accounts or withdrawing all of your money. Soon, the Christian churches will start declaring, as this minister did it back in 2005, that the reason for all the calamities is because Sunday is not being kept holy. The Salvation Army professes that keeping the Sabbath could be the most radical thing a church can do for environmental stewardship. The universal rest on Sunday will be seen as the perfect way to quell God's wrath for the continual calamities and the way to bless the earth and slow down the global warming fiasco. Therefore, this is what you must do. Revelation chapter 18 verses 4 to 5. "And I heard another voice from heaven, saying, Come out of her, my people, that you be not partakers of her sins, and that you receive not of her plagues. For her sins have reached unto heaven, and God hath remembered her iniquities." Come out of every single false religion and every single fallen church, including the fallen Seventh-day Adventist church, and take your stand with the remnant of God who keep the commandments of God and have the testimony of Jesus Christ. So who are those that receive the mark of the beast? Revelation chapter 14 verses 9 to 11 say, "And the third angel followed them, saying with a loud voice, If any man worship the beast in his image, and receive his mark in his forehead or in his hand, the same shall drink of the wine of the wrath of God, which is poured out without mixture into the cup of his indignation. And he shall be tormented with fire and brimstone in the presence of the holy angels and in the presence of the Lamb. And the smoke of their torment ascendeth up forever and ever. And they have no rest day nor night, who worship the beast in his image, and whosoever receiveth the mark of his name." Who are they that don't receive the mark? Revelation chapter 14 verse 12 puts it plainly. Here is the patience of the saints. Here are they that keep the commandments of God and the faith of Jesus. This means we must keep all 10 commandments, including the seventh-day Sabbath. Thank you for watching. God bless.